Assalamu alaikum. Hi everyone and welcome back in this Arabic learning course, lesson 3. In this lesson I will talk about the second, third and the fourth letters of the Arabic alphabet. The ba, ta and thaa. Just let me remind you of the previous lesson in which we discussed the first letter of the alphabet, the alif. The alif is written as a vertical stroke from top to bottom. It comes by itself, sometimes with a hamza above it, and other times it comes with a hamza below it. Let's see how it's written in the initial position when it comes in the beginning of a word. This is alif, sin, mim. Now when alif comes without a hamza in the beginning of a word, it is pronounced as I. So we say here ism, a name. Now let's see how the alif is written in the middle of a word. This is ba, sin, alif, and mim. This is Bassam, as you remember. The ba, the sin, and there is a shadda over the sin. It resembles a stress. So we say Bassam. Okay? Now the alif, when it comes in the middle of a word, is pronounced as a long vowel. Ah, Bassam. Exactly. Now let's see how the alif comes at the end of a word. This is sin, mim, alif, sama. And there is a hamza here, which is a mark, as we have discussed in the last lesson. This word is pronounced as sama, sama. Now let's have a look at our three heroes of today. The ba, ta, and thaa. Here we are. This is the ba. Here is the ta, and finally the thaa. As you can see, these three letters look exactly like each other, but they only differ by the dots. The ba has only one dot below the boat shape, as you can see, and it rests on the writing line. Now let's see how the ba slightly changes its shape according to its position in a word. This is the initial position in the beginning of a word. Ba, pronounced as b. And here comes the medial position. Ba also, b. And here is the final position of the ba at the end of the word. Now let's have an example about the ba in the beginning of a word. This is the word badr, badr, badr. This is the ba, dal, and ra, badr, which means full moon. Now let's have an example about the ba in the middle of a word. This is the word habl. Ha, ba in the middle of a word, and lam, habl. Now, an example about the ba in the final position, or at the end of a word. This is the word hab, or hub, which consists of two letters, the ha and the ba. Here comes the third letter in the alphabet, the thaa. As you can see, it's the boat shape with two dots above it. thaa. And here are the shapes of the thaa letter according to its position in a word. This is the initial position, thaa, t, the medium, and the final position. You may notice that its shapes are similar to the ba except for the dots. Now here is an example about the initial position of the thaa. This is the word tamr, thaa, mim, ra, t, m, r, tamr, which means dates, the fruit. And here is the medial position of the thaa. It's the word fatah or fath. It can be pronounced in two ways. The first is the thaa, the second the thaa, and the last letter is the ha. Now, an example about the thaa in the final position. Here is a word which consists of two letters, the mim and the thaa. M, mim, and thaa, t, mat, or mot, okay? Can be pronounced in different ways. The final letter in this lesson is the thaa. As you can see, it looks like the ba and the thaa, and it has three dots above the shape or the boat shape. Let's see how it looks like in the beginning of a word. Thaa, th. And here is in the middle of the word. And lastly, at the end of a word. No surprise, these shapes look the same as the previous ba and thaa letters. So let's see an example about the thaa in the initial position. This is the word thamar, thaa, mim, ra, thamar, th, m, r. Now, an example about thaa in the medial position. Muthmir, mim, thaa, mim again, and ra. Muthmir, it means fruitful. The thaa in the final position, here is the word hatha, hatha, okay? After we have finished talking about writing the letters ba, ta, and thaa and how we pronounce them, let's check if we can read these simple but challenging words. These words consist of the four letters we have discussed in this lesson and the lesson before it. Now let's try to pronounce or spell the first word from the upper right corner. This is ba, alif, ba, b, a, b. So we read it bab, exactly, bab. Now the second word, it begins or starts with ba, then alif, and the last letter is ta. So how can we read it? B, a, t, bat, bat, right. Now the third word has also three letters. The first letter, which has three dots above it, is thaa. The second letter is alif. The third letter is ba. So it's ta, a, b. It is fab, fab. Now the fourth word has only two letters. The first one is the letter, yes, thaa. That's right, thaa. which has 2 dots above it. The second letter is the boat shape with 1 dot below it, the ba. Right. So we read it as tob. Tob. Okay. Now, next word is tab. Tab. What's the difference between this word and the word before it? Only the letter alif in the middle. Tab. Okay. Now, next word has 3 letters. The first one is alif, exactly, with a hamza above it. The second letter, b, the ba, and the third letter is the thaa. So how can we read it? Abat. Right. Abat. Next, the word. This word has 2 letters only. The alif with a hamza above it, and the ba. So it's ab. Ab. It means father. Now, next word is an easy one. It has also 2 letters. The first one is the ba, and the second letter is the thaa. So we pronounce it as bath. Bath. Now the last word has 4 letters. We are going to try to read it. The first letter is ba. The second is thaa, exactly. And the third letter is alif. The last letter is again ba. So it starts with a ba and it finishes with a ba also. How can we read it? It can be read as bathab. Good job. Here we come to the end of lesson 3. I wish you have found it useful. See you in the next lesson. Assalamu alaikum. Ila liqa.